everybody, thanks for stopping by. Today I will be talking about some of my all-time favorite books. I asked on Instagram for people to vote what they wanted to see, and this was the highest voted. I'm not very big, so there's only like 5 people that voted, but still, I will do this video. A lot of the time I find that I struggle with choosing favorite books, as every reader does. So it was very difficult to pick, but I picked a couple that have really resonated with me, that I talk about a lot, that I always think about a lot. The first book I want to talk about is The Kite Runner. This is probably my very first favorite book that has resonated with me for a really long time because we read it in school. And at first, I find a lot of the time when you're forced to read something for school, it's not very good. I found when we read this for school, I blasted through it, that I actually got in trouble for not staying at the part everyone else was at, because it was so good. I really like stories about resilience and growing up because of my own growing up. I think everyone can relate to coming of age. It is about a boy, Amir, who is coming of age. It touches on family, friendship, war, revolution, lots of politics are involved. Trigger warning though, there is sexual assault and it's really, really disturbing. So you may want to skip this if you have some issues with that. But yeah, The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, he is one of my all-time favorite writers. I have every single one of his books. Everything he writes, I need it on my shelf. Okay, next up is The Knife of Never Letting Go, or the Chaos Walking series. I won't talk about the other 2 books, but these are so good. Patrick Ness is a magician with words. I was so enthralled by this plot. There's so many gut-wrenching twists, so I really enjoyed it. I read the first book in a day, and I didn't have the other 2, so I made my boyfriend take me to the bookstore to buy the other 2. I mean, I didn't make him. I kind of just brought him with me because I did buy them. But it's about a boy named Todd who lives in Prentisstown. I think I've talked about this book before, but I don't remember. It's about a boy named Todd in Prentisstown on a new planet that humans tried to inhabit, and everyone can hear each other's thoughts. They call it the noise. There's no women on this planet, and on his birthday he finds something out that is just insane, so he has to go on the run, and the entire town has to go after him. So it's really good. Another more obvious one that is a favorite among people, not everybody. I can totally get, as I reread the series, why not a lot of people like it, but I really do like Harry Potter. The 3rd book is actually my favorite book of the 7. You guys should know what this is about. I'm not gonna go over it. So yeah. So the next 3 books I'm gonna talk about, I don't actually have physical copies for. One of them my friend is borrowing, and 2 of them I read on, one of them on Kobo Books, and the other I listened on Audible. So the first one is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. It is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, and it is so magical, and I didn't really understand the story of Rumpelstiltskin at first. I knew that you had to say his name to be free and stuff like that, but this retelling is so magical and so cool, and it has a lot of feminine power in it, so I really like that. It's made me really excited to read more retellings. I have a couple on my shelf now, not by Naomi Novik, but if she comes out with anything else, I believe this is her first book, because I couldn't find anything else by her. I was really excited when I finished, and I was like, I'm gonna read all her books. But I couldn't find any, so if you guys know if she's released anything, I mean, I'm pretty sure I could Google it right now, but I'm filming this, so I'll just check after. I really liked it. It's really cool and fun to read. Highly suggest it. The person who reads it on Audible was a great narrator. I would have to give them such kudos because I am really picky about who is reading my audiobooks. I've really struggled with listening to audiobooks. Voices can be too slow, or the pitch. I really don't like when the voice is irritating. So the narrator did such an awesome job. The next book I'd like to talk about is called What is the What by Dave Eggers. It is a fictional memoir about the Sudanese immigrant that came to the U.S. As through the program of the Lost Boys. So I'm not really entirely sure what country they walked across. I think they had to walk across Sudan into a different country because of the war and the guerrillas that were there. I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't read it in a really long time, but it has stuck with me so much. I really enjoyed that book. It is so incredibly written. It's beautiful. I always say, if there is a movie to be made that I could choose from all of my books, it would be this book, because he's so detailed. You can see it in your head, and it's so good. I really like it. I suggest it to everyone who wants to read something that I am interested in. It is really harrowing. As I said before, I really like resilience stories, like Night by Eli Wiesel. It's not my favorite, but it is a really powerful book that I do enjoy. Memoirs are something that I really enjoy. It was my first step into reading nonfiction. This is a fiction book though, but my next book that I'm going to talk about is nonfiction, which is Dispatches from the Edge, which is Anderson Cooper's memoir. He talks about his family, his journalism in all sorts of countries. So he went to, I think, Iran or Iraq. I forget which one he went to. He covered some of New Orleans hurricanes, I think. But he goes through all the countries that he went to that he needed to talk about. He talks about his family, how his mom was a Vanderbilt, his brother, his struggles with mental illness, which I didn't realize he had, which is quite naive of me. I always think oh, those famous people on TV are rich and whatever, they don't live like we do. And then I read his book and I was just wow, the fact that he was even willing to open up himself to the world like that in a book has given me so much respect for him. For anybody that's willing to really open themselves up and talk about mental illness, I feel like the more that we talk about it, the less stigmas surround it. Someone who struggles with one, I think it's really important to talk about it, to be comfortable, to be understanding, and educate ourselves on them for the most part, so that no one feels left behind or lost. We'll go to my last book because that was a little dark and it was getting a little yeesh. My last book is so much fun. It is a middle grade book, I believe. It is by Ellen Raskin. She has only written 2 books, I think, that I've been able to find, but this is my very favorite. This is The Westing Game. It is so much fun to read. It's written in it's written like a novel. There's no, here's the inside. It's written, as you can hear though, I've read this a lot. Woo. It's Bible pages now. They've really thinned out. I've read this 30 times. It's so much fun to read. Even as an adult, I have such a blast reading it. It's won a Newbery Medal, but it's kind of written in puzzles. Mr. Westing dies, and he gathers everyone into this new development building to live, and he announces his will, his lawyer announces his will, stating that they are all related somehow, and the first person to figure out who murdered him gets his estate. So it has families. It has a Chinese family, a rich family, a brand new couple. There's a girl named Turtle, it's her nickname, but she is sort of the main character in this. She's trying to figure out all the puzzles, but everyone's given puzzles to do, and you get to read them as well, so you can try and figure out who killed him before the end as well. So it's really, really fun. I really enjoy this book. I feel like it is timeless. Even when I read it now, I read it when I'm in a slump. It makes me super excited to read. I do feel like I need to read it again because I am having a struggle trying to get back into reading. And if I'm gonna have a booktube channel, I should probably read. So yeah, those are all the books I want to talk about today. They're my all-time favorites so far. If you're interested or have any questions about any of them, feel free to comment down below and subscribe so that you know when I post that video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good one, and if you choose to read these books, I hope you enjoy them. Bye! Those are all the books.